Ludicolo! Like, stop!
I'm Austin.
And I'm Cloud.
This is We Watch Movies.
Today's movie is Pokemon Detective Pikachu. Detective Pikachu is a 2019 urban fantasy mystery film directed by Rob Letterman, starring Ryan Reynolds, Justice Smith, Catherine Newton, Suki Waterhouse, Omar Shapiro, Chris Geary, Ken Watanabe, and Bill Nighy. What a plot synopsis.
So, young man ends up having to go to Rhyme City after being told that his father is dead. He encounters a Pikachu that he seems to be able to understand, voiced by Ryan Reynolds. And then together, reluctantly, they try to solve the mystery of his amnesia and missing father.
So, in 1989, a movie came out, and it was called Batman. And it was a really big deal for them to not use the Warner Brothers logo music over the logo, and to like do the like stretching it out into the Batman symbol kind of shape, because you didn't really do that back then. And didn't really do it much after that for a while, just here and there. But a lot of the time, more of the time than not now, it seems like that's what happens. You know, even if it's not like a custom version of the logo, which does happen fairly frequently anymore, you almost never hear the logo music of any of the logos. Like, they start with the film music right away. And I realized watching this that that's become so commonplace that I miss hearing the logo music. And they didn't do it here because they just played the logo music. They didn't start with the film music. They actually used the logo music for, I think, 3 different companies? 2 or 3 different companies? Because there's the Warner Brothers music and the Legendary music.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, did they have, like, was there a Pokemon company, like studio logo? I can't even remember.
I don't remember seeing it.
I think it's like the next thing on the screen, but I think it may be just text. But like, I missed the logo music kind of now, and like, it was kind of nice to see it, or to hear it, I guess. And the other first thing is, and I suppose we'll get to like details of it later, but how much of this is the same story as the game that's also called this? Like, any of it?
From what I'm told, like, there's a good chunk of it that's just like the game. And then there's like a point where it just just goes the complete other direction. Where it's like, nope, we're just gonna go over here instead.
Okay. How much do you think a Pokeball like costs, like, in the world? Because it seems like a really like complicated piece of equipment, but just like although we only ever see one in the entire movie, we see the one at the beginning. But normally in the Pokemon universe, people just have like backpacks full of Pokeballs, and they're all like 12 years old.
Well, Pokeball costs $200 Pokedollars.
Yeah, but how much is that? How much is that a lot?
Well, like, if I remember correctly, I think they started off before it was converted into Pokedollars. It was just yen, and like 200 yen would be like roughly $2.
Yeah, seems really cheap.
Yeah. I don't like the fact it didn't expand. That makes me sad, because that's always That was always the thing. It's like they start off really small. You click the button in the front of it, and then it expands for full size.
They didn't do that. I guess they felt it would be like, but how does that work? And it would be unrealistic.
The whole movie's unrealistic. It's it's not a good enough reason.
No, it's supposed to, it's entirely. Although it doesn't have. Well, no, it does say it's an urban fantasy mystery film, which. Is it urban because it's in a like I don't really see the although actually no wait the way they're linked here is urban fantasy and mystery film are their own hyperlinks, so apparently urban fantasy is like okay, urban fantasy is a subgenre of fantasy in which the narrative has magical rules or elements operating in an urban setting. So something like Bright, I guess, would also be an urban fantasy, and maybe it is. I don't remember. Maybe it said that, and I'm just acting like this is the first time I've seen it because I don't remember.
All right, well, we're gonna cover spoilers, so if you haven't seen it, go see it, and then.
Oh, that's the entire because whole show.
Because there's two things that kind of piss me off. One is it does become very blatantly obvious that Pikachu is his dad.
Well, okay. So, was his dad always Ryan Reynolds, or did he just look like that after?
No, he was always Ryan Reynolds.
Because they're really cagey about never really showing him. Like, there's no pictures of him. They show him in the flashbacks. It's like raining or something. So
you only ever see like the back of him and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. Which I don't really know why, because I guess it's to cover the voice, because we know that that's who Pikachu sounds like, and we don't want to know that his dad looks like Ryan Reynolds, so we can piece it together.
Yeah.
But doesn't he talk though in the flashbacks and he sounds different? I thought he said something to like the grandma or something, but maybe not.
Like I could be wrong, but I don't remember him saying anything outside of the flashbacks or in the flashbacks. It's like the bad guy becomes very obvious whenever it's like, because whenever his Ditto transforms and you're like, oh, look, he's got a Ditto. And then there's the lady with the pink gloves, and I'm just like, oh, that's the Ditto. I don't know why he named the Ditto Mrs. Whatever. It's still Ditto.
Well, see, stuff like that, like, mostly went past me because I don't know enough about Pokemon to, like, really know, like, I wasn't like, oh, it's like, I saw the transform thing happen when they were on the TV set.
Yeah.
But I didn't know that that was something, that was a Ditto. And that would come along later, so I'm coming at this from a whole different direction.
And the sunglass thing kind of is like, okay, so we never see him wear sunglasses except for like the really funky style one on set when he tells the lady to get some style. But then the son is wearing different sunglasses.
Get some style, son.
Yeah. But it's like it kind of became obvious, and because the obviousness kind of led up, and I'm like, oh, switching bodies, that's where his dad is. Okay. The second thing is I don't like Rhyme City as a whole, because it's a cheat. And it's only a cheat because for some reason you have to, it's like, oh, we have to tell people who don't know anything about Pokemon that there's a city where Pokemon aren't in balls. And it's just like, no, like canon-wise, wild Pokemon are normally either like small that are hiding in cities, like you have like the rat versions or birds that, it's just like they're wild, but they don't really cause any problems because they're small, so people leave them alone.
Because they're uninvolved.
But, it's like, hey, if you have a Machamp, which is what you see with the 4 arms, it's just like, okay, well, if that belongs to me and it's just walking around the street with me or something, no one's going to care. So this whole idea is like, oh, where's your partner? It's like, listen, I've got like 30 of these things in a box. I'm carrying 6 of them, and I've got 2 out walking with me. No one's gonna blink. He's like, oh,
the backpack full of Pokeballs.
Yeah, like no one's gonna care about this. It's just what happens.
But what it doesn't give you though is it doesn't give you the ones like doing jobs. Yeah. I guess, and they want it to just be. They want to show us as many Pokemon as possible all the time.
But see, we don't have to have the arbitrary rule of like, oh, there's no like, no, you don't need that. That is unnecessary because you can just have them out anyways. Like they're helping, like the Squirtle Squad putting out fires. Like, yeah, there's
Yeah, that
already a
seems fine.
Squirtle
Like,
squad
yeah.
that puts out fires. We don't need to know there's no Pokeballs for them to be walking around helping put out fires. It's unnecessary, and it kind of goes against normal, rules for, like, the world. Like, oh, no, it's this region where it's like this. Like, no, that's not even how any of this stuff happens. If you're a registered trainer and you go into this city, you still have to follow the rules of being a registered trainer.
Seems like not, though.
Regardless of the fact that there's this one dude and he owns a company and it's in the city. Like, no, that's not how it works. That's not how the league rules work.
Seems to be how it works.
No. It's just we had to have this stuff, so the lady had to carry the Psyduck on her back, so we can have, like, oh, if he gets upset and the headache, he's gonna explode, which is also not how that works. But we have to have it so we can use it in a scene later. Like, I don't like that kind of stuff. We have to have this happen so writing this story becomes easier.
Yeah. I mean, none of that stuff I knew either, so it didn't make any difference to me. I mean, it seemed like I was more concerned about so there's an exposition video when you come into town on the train. So, which is a fairly useful mechanism, I guess, in order to tell us things that we need to know, because you created this thing that doesn't actually exist, even if you already know Pokemon. So, like, you have to explain to us that you just made up some new rules. But it's a little bit, like, I feel like after Jurassic Park, like, that, you can't really get away with, like, using that as the explanation mechanism anymore, which doesn't even stop the Jurassic Park movies from doing it, because they continue to do it. Sometimes in the form of Jimmy Fallon. It does kind of seem, though, that, like, it's, like, flawed as a city anyway, because, like, some of them are doing jobs, or they're like present where jobs are being done, where they're not actually able to be helpful because they, like, you can't talk to them and they can't talk. Like the one that's in, like, the lobby of the apartment building, like, the dude's asleep, the Pokemon's right there. It's no help.
No.
So it doesn't help that it's there, because it can't talk, and, like, you need to talk in that kind of job. Like, the putting out fires and things, that's fine, I guess, but a lot of them seem to be like, what use is it walking around? I get, like, the only reason you need a Pokemon partner as police, kind of, is so that you have one with you, but even that doesn't really work if you can't. Like, it works for him because he can talk to Pikachu, but since nobody else can talk to theirs, it's not like you can use them in the way that he is in order to do your police work. So it seems like if all the police had like, were all canine units.
Technically, they kind of are.
Which,
like,
seems like not really that efficient way to be the police.
Yeah, because, like, what we see are a lot of Growlithe and Arcanine, which are, obviously, they're dogs, but they're, like, fire-breathing dogs. And then Snubbull, which is with Ken.
The grumpy one.
Yeah.
Are they grumpy like that? Are they always grumpy?
Yes, they're normally. That's their outward temperament. But it's supposed to be like a pit bull, like a little bulldog kind of thing. And so it's like, okay, well, it's still another dog. But then you have, like, but Ryan Reynolds as a detective has a Pikachu for whatever reason.
Yeah.
So it's like, why this one stands out? Why? Oh, because mascot. There you go. And it's voiced by Ryan Reynolds. So now we have a movie.
Yeah.
The Charmanders were adorable, though.
Well, they did do a very good job, at least from what I can tell. Because, like, I don't know very much, but, like, I know what, like, some of them look like. And, like, I've watched some of the cartoon, but I don't remember very much. And I've never, like, really played the games or had cards. So I don't know. And I didn't play Pokemon Go because I didn't want to, and also it never came out for Windows Phone, so I couldn't have, even if I had wanted to, which I didn't. So it was kind of a double wall in the way of that. But the like live action nature of it, it seems to me that they did a really good job. And especially in the face of the Sonic the Hedgehog controversy that's like happening presently, like they didn't do anything. Like they just like, here's what they look like. We made them look real. Like they didn't really change designs or anything.
Well, the interesting thing behind the aesthetic is there's a lead designer who, back before massive social media was everything, and there was like 1,000 of them. There was MySpace and there was DeviantArt. And,
one of those still exists.
Yeah. And
Technically both, but
people still use DeviantArt.
Yeah.
And there was an artist, and that's what they did, is they made these kind of ultra realistic artistic depictions of Pokemon, and then they were hired to do the lead design for this movie. So that's
fun.
That's awesome. Way to go. And the only one that is directly changed compared to the original art would be Gengar. Because, you know, Gengar fought the Blastoise in the underground ring.
Oh, the fight that was going on when they came in?
Yeah.
Okay.
The ghost, the gas thing that was purple.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that was a Gengar. I know you don't know. That's what I'm telling you.
I should, like, Matthew's poster of like the original 151 are right over there. I should probably just grab it.
But
is that the right number? Is that right?
Well, yeah, 151 for Gen 1.
Yeah. I'm just like remembering the song at the end of the cartoon episodes where they're like, we're gonna count them off a few at a time, so you come back and learn them all every day or week or however often they broadcast.
And so his original art piece for that evolutionary line looked like bats. And so it's like, oh no, we want more of an our concept to stay like that. So I'm like, okay, at least Gengar doesn't look like a weird fat bat. It looks like a thing of gas, but that's what it's supposed to be anyway. So I'm like, hey, this is cool.
It's a gas, man.
Charizard looks legit. Blastoise looks legit. Pikachu having the fur on it looks good, even like whenever it gets wet. So I'm like, okay, so they put a lot of work into making sure Pikachu looks good constantly. The Jigglypuff does look kind of creepy, but I'm okay with it. Ludicolo, oh god, moist. Ludicolo's so moist. That was the one that had the duck face that was behind the bar. I want a coffee.
Okay.
Ultra black. Ludicolo! Like, stop! That's terrifying.
And again, what help is he being?
Yeah. For some reason, the Pokemon understand one another, so...
Well, they will understand one another, yeah, but did he serve him the coffee, or did, like, the guy still have to?
No, the Ludicolo came up behind him and had the coffee, and he drank the coffee, and it was, they spit the coffee out later, whatever, and...
Pikachu doesn't seem to understand that you can refill a paper cup.
Yeah.
Like in the apartment later, he has like 100 paper cups just scattered here and there. I was
drinking out of that one, and I was drinking out of that one.
And he doesn't know which one he's on, like which one has anything in it. Is he moving from cup to cup?
Yeah,
just fill it up again. So that at the end, like, so is that a like Pikachu likes coffee? And so it gets like transferred to Ryan Reynolds from like being in like his mind for so long, or
I don't know. I think
does Pikachu like coffee because Ryan Reynolds does? Or
I think it's Ryan Reynolds likes coffee, and then that causes Pikachu to like coffee.
Because then he's like, I really wanted a coffee right now, and I didn't know why. Like it seemed like they were doing like he got this from Pikachu.
No, it's like I can own, like that was my first thought, was I need a coffee.
So that's just always his first thought. I guess is coffee.
I need a coffee. Detective movie. I need a coffee.
Yeah. Well,
we're gonna play that one movie that was specifically made for Home Alone because I like coffee.
Is that the movie?
That's it. Yeah. Like that clip, because they cut it. He turns the TV off before like the dude pulls the gun out and calls him like a dirty bastard and like shoots him. But yeah, like that little clip is from the movie the kid was watching in Home Alone.
Does Warner Brothers own Home Alone?
I don't know, maybe.
No, it's Fox. So
Well, there
that's
you go.
Weird. I haven't seen Home Alone in a long time, so I didn't realize that that's what it was, but that's also neat, I guess.
Yeah, the interwebs made a big fit about it when they realized, oh, that's from Home Alone. But why?
Because I was like trying to figure out what it was. Like, what detective movie is this? And we don't see enough of it, and it's hard to tell. And there are so many, in like the 30s and 40s, they made so many detective movies that unless it has like Humphrey Bogart or like 2 or 3 other people in it, it's really hard, because there could be like some really weird, obscure one that came out and played for like a week, and no one really remembers.
It made $12, so that was a plus.
It was a big $12 in the 40s, you know.
That's right.
Although they did do in LA Noire, the video game, one of the like side questy things you can do is it's not really side quest, but like find these collectibles. They have film cans of old detective movies that are just like scattered about the city, and you can just sort of like peek into corners and maybe you'll find one. And I think there are like 50 of them. And so they did at least highlight the titles of a number of obscure detective movies, because there aren't like 50 of like really famous ones, because there are like the Humphrey Bogart ones, and then things like Naked City and a few others, and besides that, mostly that you have to start digging into less well-known things. And so they did highlight some slightly more obscure detective movies, but I don't remember
cool.
50 of them offhand. I noticed in the credits that there was a like segmented off from all of the rest of the credits a voice of Pikachu credit. Is that like the person who's normally the voice of Pikachu like the rest of the time?
Maybe. I mean, I guess like you'd have like the actual Pikachu voice that's carried over. Like here's the famous one that we play whenever we do like a Nintendo Direct. Here's the new Pokemon video game trailer, and it opens up and it says Pokemon, and there's the Pikachu, and like does the thing.
Yeah.
And so I'm wondering if it's like just that person. I didn't notice it, so I couldn't take the name down to look it up.
Yeah, I'm trying to look it up. But like I didn't know if that was just like something you happened to have like heard about. Pikachu voice. Let's see who this person is. There are 2 people credited, or no, there's 1 person credited as passerby who is uncredited.
Just pass it right by.
It seems like yes, she is the voice of Pikachu in basically everything. So
all right, well that's good.
It is that, yeah. So it's the same.
Hooray!
It's like having a Peter Cullen in the Transformers movies as Optimus. It's just like, it's nice to have it be the voice everybody remembers. So, do you think that Ryan Reynolds is being like really Ryan Reynolds-y in this more than he's like really playing a character, where he's just like, I have to do like, it has to be PG, but otherwise I'm kind of doing like a Deadpool kind of thing?
I don't think that's.
It feels similar.
I don't think that's really fair though, because I hear people say that, but I never really thought that through the movie, and I guess that would be based off of the dialogue. Like having Ryan Reynolds pretend to be Ryan Reynolds is just our major perception of how he behaves in public, which is probably not even true.
Yeah, well.
But at the same time, like, the stuff that he does for Deadpool is normally very specific.
It's specific, but a lot of it comes from him, though.
And then, like, you have this, and this is just like, okay, well, I'm going to play the voice of this character. This is supposed to be my job, so I got to at least pretend like this is what I'm doing. I'm just going to talk like I always talk, as if I was just doing this job instead.
Yeah, I guess.
Because, like, I don't, like, when it comes to, like, oh, I can only ever see this person as this one character, like, I don't have that problem.
No, I don't have
And
that
so-
normally, and it's not because of that. It just feels kind of like he's being like he's being comedic and like not aware that he's in a story, but like really aware of this, like the situation that he's in. That was really twisty, like and sort of moments, which there are a number of.
Yeah, being self-aware. I think that's better. It's being self-aware of the movie.
It's the self-awareness that
Yeah.
does it.
Because I keep thinking of, like, Van Wilder.
I've never seen Van Wilder,
Well,
so
especially
That doesn't
whenever
help
he's,
me.
like, trying to help the kid. It's like, just talk to her. You know, because you have, like, a lot of that, and I was thinking, like, oh, like, these are probably things he's picked up from whenever the Van Wilder days were really big.
it's
like-
like first movie was big,
Yeah.
kind of failed after that.
When you take him out of it. No, okay, but see, here's the thing. There's a lot of dialogue just throughout the entire movie, throughout the entire thing, that is overall innocent if you don't understand.
I guess.
And then, like, as you kind of understand more and more, you can be like, oh, okay, so that's... And we're talking way past the whole, I'm going to pour gasoline on Mr. Mime.
I really like that
Which was
scene,
hilarious.
which is the best acting that Justice Smith does in the movie, because otherwise I
best
think that
acting.
he's not that
Good of an
great.
actor,
Yeah,
yeah.
I don't think he's that good of an actor.
What was the lady's name?
Which?
The lady, the only lady who's important as a lady.
The reporter?
Yeah.
That is Catherine Newton.
Okay, so I've heard people complain about Catherine Newton, but honestly, I would say for acting, she did the best in the movie outside of the voice acting from Reynolds.
Yeah, because even Ken Watanabe was not that great. He's
Well,
not in it much.
yeah, it's
but
like,
but
we're
but
gonna
the
give you
scenes that
3
he's
lines.
in, and also he's playing mostly scenes with Justice Smith, and it's hard to like acting with another person is like a partnery kind of thing, and like if I feel like there just wasn't much to play with.
The only direct line that Ken said that was at least any good was when he was talking about Snubble being
Yeah, that was good.
good,
That
you
was
know,
good.
he's sweet on the inside, and then Snubble growls at him.
Yeah.
And he reacts like, that is good. Him talking to the kid, not good.
Yeah.
And then we see him like one other time in the bleachers, and that is it.
Well, no, because without the kid, yeah. It's like he has the I never wanted to show you this video of your father being killed,
Ugh.
but I happen to have it queued up all the time on the
It's just
TV in
ready.
my
Just
office.
click button.
Which was weird. It's like, why does he keep that ready? I thought the case was closed, and you never wanted to tell him. So what's happening here?
You wanted me to tell everybody that you cured cancer? That's a Greninja star. Ah, everything's adding up.
Do they not disappear?
No,
Are they not like part of the just like the powers or something?
I
I was also reminded because like I was thinking about the logo thing super early and trying to remember it, and I was like, oh yeah, you like link it to Batman, and that was maybe I'll remember it that way.
linking the link
Um,
links.
But then later in the movie, it's also kind of like Batman because there's gas in the balloons, and that's the evil plan.
Yeah.
and it's the parade. And so it's a little bit of a different thing what the evil gas does, but it's still the basis of your plan is we're gonna have these balloons, and it just would have been like a lot easier if they'd had a bat wing with a like big pliers thing on the front to just carry them all off in front of the moon and get rid of them.
I don't understand.
Pikachu does some work later on, which I guess that stuff is flammable too, because it just goes up when it gets electricityed.
Oh yeah.
Which seems
It'd help if he would have done it
I
more.
guess. Well, I guess so, but no one listens.
No, of course
Because
no
they're
one
just yelling
listens.
like, "Don't breathe the gas!" and everybody just breathes the gas.
Here, let me
There's there's no helping
Good
it.
stuff.
What?
Actually that moment was fun. That was some nice acting too when they're in the like illegal fight arena, and he gets like thrown to the ground, and all the vials in his coat bust, and he realizes it, like smoke just sort of starts to come out, and he's like, "Oh no!" and he starts like trying, which he goes the wrong direction because he goes trying to take the coat off and spread it around, which I guess is just so that he won't choke to death or something, but he's not trying to contain it.
No, of course not, because he's a bad guy and he's trying to escape.
Well, but also he should not want to die because he just made a bunch of more Pokemon in the room crazy.
Go insane. Okay, so what I don't understand is they made this stuff somehow out of Mewtwo liquid,
I guess,
and it affects Mewtwo.
Also, yes,
which
seems
odd.
odd.
It's like, well, shouldn't you be immune to because it's not like venom that Mewtwo naturally produces, and then maybe if Mewtwo bit himself, then that's not good. But no,
yeah, because normally it's kept separated or whatever.
Yeah, it's just it doesn't make any sense.
It also turns out not to even be true what the old guy says, because he says in the psychological state with the gas, then Mewtwo's powers can change, can merge people and Pokemon together. But then Mew does it to Pikachu and Ryan Reynolds without any gas or anything.
Yeah.
So it does it, and then changes everyone back without any gas or anything. So it doesn't even seem like a necessary part of the evil plan.
Well, the bad guy didn't even put his own self into Mewtwo's body. He just
no, he did it
using
with the mind control device. Yeah.
I would have pushed his ass straight outside that window.
Yeah.
Oh Lord, the movie would have went straight to R really fast. Just this kid just pushing the guy in his wheelchair and all just out the window watching.
I feel like you could do that in PG-13.
But not PG.
No, not PG, which was already a big deal because it's the first Pokemon anything to have been released with a PG rating. So all the other theatrical movies and the shows and everything has always been G.
Which is weird because there's no way that the very first Pokemon movie could ever still be rated G.
Probably not. It's the late 90s. I haven't seen it since then.
Jesus Christ.
So I don't remember.
The other ones I can understand. Okay, Pokemon 2000. That's not so bad. No, Mewtwo coming up and enslaving people and making clones, and they're like, PETA, I hate PETA. PETA talking about it's dogfighting. No, listen, if you pay any attention with Pokemon at all, you have two trainers. They're supposed to be they agree to the battle. No one actually gets hurt. They just kind of slap each other around because super resistance, whatever. No one ever dies. And it's just well, let me just take a 5-minute breath and I'm good to go. Everything's okay. The movie was we're going to fight until things pass out from exhaustion and just not positive things.
It's a they shoot horses, don't they situation.
Yeah, they shoot horses. And it's not good. And then it's Ash dies. Not he kind of dies in that new movie, and Ho-Ho kind of brings him back to life and stuff. No, Ash is turned to stone in an explosion. It's crazy. It's not G anymore.
Yeah, well. I don't know. I mean, if you look at the Disney movies.
Yeah, and I'm sure a lot of the old ones would have to.
They're maybe.
Re-rated.
I mean, some of the lots of people's parents are killed, and you don't see the actual you don't see gore or anything, but it's still emotionally traumatic for being really young, which is part of why they are what they are. But I guess it's I don't know. Because it's all like mysterious how the MPA decides on ratings. It's hard to say, but it does seem like a lot of things might receive different ratings if they were re-rated or rated at different times than they were. Both directions, I think, both older and newer.
Yeah.
Things might go different ways. That's not rated R, but that's the best they could come up with to call the gas stuff. We just called it R.
I think it's supposed to be like a Team Rocket kind of thing.
Yeah, which
because like Team
here.
Rocket is like the classic bad guys, and like the only bad guys that ever did anything. Okay, so like
but they're like Inspector Gadget bad guys. Like
mostly
bumble and
you listen here now, Mister. I don't know. In every series of games, there's always like a new series of villains. They're formed into a team, and like the first 2 gens got Team Rocket. And Team Rocket is well known for like we capture Pokemon, preferably of other trainers, and then we like resell them for money, and then we do like crazy genetic experiments because they're the ones who created Mewtwo to begin with.
Yeah,
and what we get in the show with Jesse, James, and Meowth, they're idiots.
Yeah,
they're idiots, and then the rest of Team Rocket pretends like they don't exist. So we got like a whole different ball game over here. Like all the other teams, except for kind of Galactic, they kind of did something. Everybody else just sucks. I do like that. What's his face? The chairman dude who was in the wheelchair because mysterious disease that he's dying from.
Yeah,
he has like a giant.
So then he didn't die from.
Yeah. Because he should have been thrown off the building.
Well, no, but I mean, like, what did he accomplish in his, like, because, like, he was like, I'm going to find a cure for this disease I have. And so he goes off and has the idea for Rhyme City, which he then creates, and then has not died of the disease, even though it doesn't seem like that's something that's going to... I mean, he's in a wheelchair, I guess. So maybe it was just like, oh, it's going to be really bad, and it turns out he just put him in a wheelchair instead of killing him.
Well, we don't... That doesn't get any
some
closure.
time has passed.
Yeah.
It's like he looks a lot older than when he was supposedly dying. So
like, is he still dying? Is he not dying anymore? And
I don't
he's just
know.
in the wheelchair because
he doesn't have like an IV attached to his wheelchair. Yeah. Like he's not obviously dying. He's just old and can't walk. So
he can obviously be left alone in his Ditto, like, off doing stuff, which is also weird because they say, "Oh yeah, the Pokemon doesn't actually understand what you're saying, but they understand what you feel." But that Ditto followed commands very well.
Yeah. And he wasn't wearing the mind control thingy.
Yeah.
So,
but he has like gold miniature statues behind his desk of, like, how should I explain this? Dialga, the Pokemon of time. Palkia, the Pokemon of space. Arceus, the pretty much god Pokemon that exists that seems to have created everything in existence. And it's just like, and they look nice. But really?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I didn't know any of that, of course, so it doesn't... Is that like there's a model of the Vengeance on the Admiral's desk in Into Darkness, kind of? Like, is it supposed to, like, tip us off to something?
Well, it feels very bad guy-ishy. It's like, normally, like, bad guys are the ones who have, like, the giant gold statues of legendaries that, like, it's like that lust for power kind of thing.
Huh.
It's like, well, an ancient civilization that made a statue out of stone and put it for everyone to observe and appreciate is more of like, ooh, praise this deity Pokemon. Hooray. Thank you for saving us for whatever. And then you just have like this, do it. You know, that's just like, all right. We have like this amazing super hologram technology.
Yeah, which does seem like I was reminded of Vin Diesel's like car whispering abilities in the fourth Fast and Furious movie. Not just because it was also a car accident.
Yeah, like pets the top of it.
But it,
Okay, tell me.
But it really is just like, oh, it could show us things that they couldn't see in the. But how? How?
Yeah, how?
You can't see them in the video, so you're having to make them up.
Yeah.
Like, if you can't see them in the video, you don't know. Like, you just making it into a 3D shape doesn't add. Like, it's like ultimate zoom and enhance.
Ultimate
is what they have.
Yeah.
Like, it's totally
three-dimensional
bogus.
zoom and enhance.
It's three-dimensional zoom and enhance.
Hey, get us closer. I want to smell his breath.
Which it is like a second. Like the chairman guy has done a lot of things. He didn't die of his disease. He brought Pokemon and humans in harmony together.
No, he really didn't.
And also he invented advanced hologram technology, which is what he calls it.
Yeah.
Advanced hologram technology.
And he's got the laboratory that's like doing the genetic experiments.
Genetics, which we're supposed to think is the sun, I guess. Which also is, right? Like the sun is like sort of evil, just not as evil, and like evil in a different way.
Like he's just a big ass, you know.
Because like he's the one that shows up to capture Mewtwo, so he's in on it.
That was Ditto.
Oh, it was Ditto. That
was Ditto because that was the wrong glasses that he was wearing.
So what was he doing? So does he just not know what's going on?
Yeah,
like his father's being evil and he just doesn't know.
Because like when it starts off, we get the impression that the old man is nice, the son is an ass, therefore he's the bad guy.
At the like the TV thing.
Oh yeah.
So,
but whenever you start realizing like what these facilities that do stuff, what they're for, it's just like, oh, well, he had a disease and he was trying to cure it. Like, what do you need? How do you cure it? Medicine? Where do you make labs?
Yeah.
Oh, what just exploded? A lab. What was in that lab? The strongest Pokemon ever. Like, oh, okay, kind of putting the pieces together. Like, we have a puzzle here. And the son's just like, I run the news and I'm wealthy and a prick.
Yeah,
I don't like my dad.
I did think it was the like he owns the news.
Yeah.
Which is like a literal thing because like he owns the net, like, which it does seem like there are 3 or 4 other news networks in the city because there are multiple live trucks there and they have they have different names and station numbers on them.
Yeah.
You don't. We didn't see them long enough for me to really like read them or tell what they are. One of them is probably Action News, some kind of number, because that's the like most generic one, even though there are real ones. So I guess he doesn't literally own all the news unless he also owns all of those, and it's just the illusion of diversity in news. I don't know.
Plot twist, CNN and Fox are owned by the same guy.
Well, they're not owned by the same guy, but they are both left. Are owned by people who are left.
Wait, I thought Fox was right.
No, they're right on the air, sort of, but
well,
they're it's sort of a face they put on.
Okay.
Or they used to. They're doing it less now, and they're losing ratings, and they don't seem to understand why. So it's like you're not like there are other networks for this. Like the people who watch you because of what you are, so you have to be that. Like put on the face, even if it's not what you think.
Maybe if
or just go off the air. Either one.
Maybe if they just posted their own top 10 cutest Pokemon, maybe their ratings would go up. And she's right.
They're all cute.
They're all cute.
I don't know if that's true.
Okay, so I think it's more of a perception kind of thing because like people hate Zubat. I love Zubat. I think Zubat's adorable. All right.
You think Tyranids are adorable though, so I'm not sure how much weight we're gonna put on your adorability metrics.
Chopping you up with an axe is adorable. All right. So
See?
Don't push it. Don't push it, bub. All right, but no, it's one of the things where it's like whenever they have like these ultra realistic kind of depictions, like okay, if it's supposed to look big and scary, but at the same time, like think of a biker. All right. Think of like this big grizzly biker, and he's got the big beard mustache thing, and then he's like, oh, he's not very cute until he starts acting cute, and you're like, all right, well, that's weird but adorable at the same time. Still weird, but adorable. I feel like that's how the Gengar would have been. Like, he only looks kind
I
of
guess
scary because
maybe.
he's doing the funky stuff, but at the end of the day, it's just like, oh, no, it's my Gengar, and I love my Gengar, whatever. It'd be the same thing with Zubat, Blastoise, the Charizard. You know, Charizard still wants to be petted. Yeah, it's big and scary looking with a big scar on its face, but, you know, who knows? It's probably a puppy. Breathing in. And I still wanted to see a Dragonite. I never got to see a Dragonite.
No.
Sad.
Or like any other Pikachu forms.
Yeah.
Or any other Pikachu besides that one.
We
So-
cannot take attention away from Ryan Reynolds.
Well, But like, there's multiples of everything else.
Why
and,
the
like,
hell does she have a Psyduck?
we know there are other ones in the world because he has a Pikachu-shaped bed.
Yeah.
So, he's not the last Pikachu or anything.
I want to know how he felt as a trainer.
I don't know. I mean,
He couldn't even remember how to catch a Cubone.
well, it didn't choose him.
It's not how it works.
That's how they say it works.
It doesn't matter, like, how the colorful representation of bonding works. Like, no, like, there's a Pidgey. Throw a rock at that Pidgey. Catch the Pidgey while it's confused. Use that Pidgey to attack the Cubone. You're gonna have type advantage. The Cubone is now weakened. You can catch it. Easy. Now you have a Pidgey and a Cubone. Now you're not lonely anymore. Treat them with love. Nothing wrong with a Pidgey. Or a Cubone.
Backpack full of Pidgeys.
No. We just let them go. Or wonder trade them away.
Because you're gonna catch a lot, or like you're gonna find a lot of them.
Yeah.
You're gonna.
I don't know, like, man, I've been playing these damn games for like 20 something years.
And actually, it is like literally 20 years, right? 'Cause
Yeah.
Isn't it like 98 or 99?
Something like that.
when they came out in the U.S. I think the cartoon is 99.
Yeah.
So
Well, because it was the card games, and then it was like
the card games are what I was aware of first, because everyone I knew besides me was playing the card game.
well, like everything kind of
And I
came out at
didn't,
the
like,
same
become aware of
time,
the
but
video games until a little after.
well, like everything came out like at the same time ish, but it's like I'm more interested on like the American releases because I'm American. So it's like, oh yeah, like if the cards and this anime and like the manga series and the video games all came out on September the 2nd of like
In America!
90 whatever, like I don't really care because I couldn't get them. But like from my understanding, the card games were released first, and then it was the video games. And then right before the video games came out, that's when like Nintendo Power was sending out the promotions for the anime. And then they used the anime because it was on TV to push the products. So it's like, okay, so this is already on the market. This is about to be on the market. This is going to be on the network. And then we're going to have advertisements in the Nintendo magazines for it. I could be wrong, but that's what I remember between like me and Matthew growing up with this stuff.
It's probably true. Or it's probably pretty close to true.
But I don't know, like, was there anything in it that felt out of place outside of like just like I guess you'd say in the environment, in the world that all this stuff takes place in?
Out of place.
Yeah.
I mean, not really. I don't guess.
Because I kept thinking about the Torterra Gardens. And it's just like, you know, you have like these incredibly gigantic Torterra. How did they get there in such a way that no one noticed? Because I can understand, like, oh, we built a facility and we have a gate around the facility, so the things that we do inside of it, like the Greninja, whatever, like, okay, I can kind of understand that because it's all isolated. But when you have things that are like the sizes of mountains, and there was at least 4 that we saw on screen,
Yeah.
how does no one know about this? Because, you know, they didn't immediately start out that way.
No. Well, I mean, they tip us toward it with the sign on the glass wall, and she says they look normal size to me.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, well. But then as soon as they go outside and everything starts moving around, it takes like what felt like, but probably isn't, 10 minutes for the characters to realize what people watching it realize as soon as the ground starts to move. It's like, oh, there's the big ones.
Yeah.
And it takes them forever to realize. And it's like really, it's not until they're looking it in the eye that they realize. Like literally there's an eye right there and they look at it and they're like, oh, there's an eye. Oh, it's the big ones. And it's like really dumb. Because what do they think is happening otherwise? That the ground is just moving around and like shifting and like what? That's not a thing that's normal. And you have an explanation right there that all of the people who are now in the situation were present for as a clue.
Yeah.
And so then they just don't put it together. Like they don't put it together ever because it's not until they're confronted with information that they can't interpret as anything else that they realize what's going on. And there's a moment in there that I'll talk about when we get to the star segment.
Well, it's things like that just kind of make me go, how did they get away with this?
I don't know. It's way they seem to drive for a long time to get there. It's way out there. They probably own all the land. I don't know. Maybe there's a really big fence.
When 4 mountains just appear out of thin air.
I don't know.
Yeah, I remember whenever the river ran through this field. Nope.
Maybe
mountains.
There were already mountains there, and they got rid of the mountains. And so now it looks like it was the way it was. I don't know. They don't really, and they don't do very much. They're like, oh, we're going to look around, and then we're going to like go back into the ground. Yeah. They don't hang around long, so.
Don't even know why they did it to begin with.
Anyone would notice. Because they're testing.
There was no one there!
Well, no. I mean, like, why they made them.
No, I'm saying
I don't know why they stood up.
Yeah,
because we flew into the like whatever the worm thing in the asteroid is called in Star Wars. It's just like I feel like it's that kind of sequence. It's just we're gonna run out here to escape. Oh wait, it's not out here. It's actually a thing that now we're in danger because of. And so it's a little bit of a generic kind of thing. So
see, at least with the worm, they had to escape because the worm's going to eat them. Like they didn't do anything. They were just like
no, they almost dropped him off of like high cliffs and stuff.
And they wouldn't even know.
No,
for gigantic Torterra, we don't even know.
No, not that they would know, but just like it put them in danger. So
sloppy. It doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make any sense.
It looked cool though.
Yeah.
Sorry, there was a glitch in the Matrix.
So how do we feel about stars?
I'm giving it 4. Like, there's a lot of stuff in this that I really like, except for the world itself. Like, hey, we're going to write this story about Pokemon, and we have no idea what we're doing.
Well,
hey, look at this.
I don't feel like they didn't know what they were doing. I think they just made choices to be like, well, it'll be fine.
I think they made bad choices.
They've been changing stuff in the world like before, even in the animated movies recently, haven't they? Like they've been changing things.
I have not watched Sun and Moon, but I've watched everything else, and there is nothing that stands out to such an extent.
Well, maybe not to such an extent, but
no,
still,
I'm saying like because like if you we have like a ship that can fly, but it doesn't make any sense how it can fly. Well, no one's going to question that. There's always been stuff like that in all of the movies. I say all of them. Like just things like that happen. You know, it's like the world itself accepts things that are going on around it, but in the world itself, it makes sense. So like that's the whole idea. Like there doesn't need to be a city where he's like, oh, because of this, because every other city is already like that. So, I made this. No, you're not special. Go to this city, it's already like that. Go to this city, it's already like that. You know? There's just that Let me get my word right. The only difference is we put a flag on it here for the camera compared to it's already just generally accepted over here in this animated movie. That's all it is. If a delibird shows up and delivers mail, you don't question the fact that a delibird showed up and delivered mail because, oh, it's just a delibird delivering mail. You just accept the mail and you thank the delibird and it flies off. And then we have this movie and they got to make a point about the fact that, oh, well, in this city, delibirds deliver the mail. Like, and?
I would have given it 4, but I'm not. I will be giving it 3 because in the giant, what are they called? Torterra. They put a climate change thing in.
Yeah.
And like right there, I was like, nope. Whatever I was gonna give this, however this turns out, it's 1 star off. Like, what if it would have been if it had made it to 5 stars, it would have been 4. Like a star's coming off. You do something like that, it's unjustifiable. There's no excuse for it. It's not even actually funny.
The Torterras are not the cause for climate change.
Well, no, not that. It's like, so suppose climate change. Like, that's not something we think's going to happen because and it's just like, so you can't, how can you not believe in climate change now? It's just like pointing right. It's like, it's worse than the stuff in Hurricane Heist, or The Hurricane Heist. It's like, it's somewhere between the stuff in Hurricane Heist and the stuff in Birdemic. It's bad, even as like tiny a moment as it is, because it's so out of place. And also it's going to date really badly too, I feel like. I just didn't care for it. Which I don't think is surprising to anybody that's listened to the show for a period of time. So, stars coming off, so it gets 3. So something we have to talk about is
preparing ourselves for the new Godzilla movie.
Well, no. Damn. They shot this on film.
They did.
Because John Matheson, who is the cinematographer for this, is like an old school British cinematographer guy. And he's one of the like film is still better people. And he said in an interview,
"Oh, we're going to use film."
That the use of traditional film helped make it look more realistic. So that's why he uses film. Doesn't make any sense at all.
I'm not going to comment on it.
It doesn't make it look like any. It doesn't matter. It doesn't make it look like anything. It's just an image. You're just capturing the image. It doesn't matter what you capture it on. You're just capturing the image. And also, there's so much that's not even existing in it anyway. Because it's not like the Nolan did, and like all of the Pokemon are like real somehow. They're real. It's real. That when you're adding so much that you're not capturing on the film, even if you were to believe that emulsion is emotion and any of this bogativity stuff that people say about film, that's just not true.
Bogativity
is it's not like you didn't point the film at this thing. It wasn't there. Interstellar has a similar problem, just as like a Nolan thing, where it's like you had to do a lot of CG for this, much more than you have to do in your other movies. I don't see how the film thing's helping, even in your own justification. So here's another one of these guys. So John Matheson likes film. And, it's fine, I guess. I don't think it mattered. I didn't notice. See, the thing is, I didn't notice. We got to the credits and it said Kodak Motion Picture Film. I'm like, oh. And like I turned to you and said, it's film. Look, it's film. They shot it on film. I had no idea.
They had the big logo and everything.
The big logo, yeah. It was a big logo.
It was.
Like, it was like way bigger than it used to be when just everything was on film. If it's like because you have all of those like Technicolor and this, Deluxe and
Please,
all these other the
make
companies
movies on film. We're trying to
well,
survive.
no. They don't want you. They don't manufacture film anymore. Like, except in special, like they spin up the plants to make some for Nolan. Like they don't make it like actively because not enough people use it, and they don't like, and the studios don't want them to keep making it because they don't want to have to send out release prints because it's like $45,000 for a print of a movie, and there's like something like 8,000 theaters in the country, so that it's expensive. They would rather write down on the accounting that it costs them such and such an amount to distribute the film so that they can look like they make a loss on every movie that they make and avoid taxes. But they want that to be true, that it actually didn't cost them anything and they just wrote it in the accounting. If it actually costs them something to distribute it, that doesn't work. So they don't want that. Film is expensive. It's crazy expensive. And that's like just for 35. If you're gonna put out like a 70 millimeter print of something like that, the print that they did for the like 2001 re-release, like last year or whenever it was, that's like almost $100,000, maybe a little over $100,000, depending on the length of the movie, to do a real 70 millimeter print of something. It's crazy expensive. Because it's just so much like silver and materials and stuff in the emulsion, and it does not equal emotion. Oh, one other thing. They're counting this as a video game movie, as the most successful video game movie, which I guess in a way it is. But I feel like the universe, like there's so many Pokemon things that I don't just think of the game, so it feels a little cheaty compared to other things.
Well, I guess, 2/3 of Pokemon are games. Maybe not video games.
But not video
games.
games.
Games in general.
Yeah.
And it is directly based off of a video game.
It is, yeah.
The actual Detective Pikachu game. The difference is Pikachu doesn't become dad again. It just stays as like, I'm a talking Pikachu that drinks coffee and solves mysteries.
So that part is there. Like, it actually is like his dad and a Pikachu.
Yeah.
Okay.
Pretty much, yeah. I mean,
yeah.
If you play the game, there's some spoilers, but
well,
they don't spoil the entire thing.
That's all I have to say about Detective Pikachu. See you next.
Later.
In America.
I'm just thinking about like we're trying to make a joke about Pikachu taking a shit in front of everybody, but can't do it because people are watching. But all the kids know he's trying to.
PG.
But like all the kids know he's trying to do an electric attack, and all the adults are like, "Why is he trying to take a shit?"
Yeah.
Like, and I'm over here just like I'm two worlds, just like that don't look right, but I know what you're trying.
Yeah.
I can't do it when anyone's looking at me. Like, okay, stop.
I also don't believe that those pants came off. Those like tight tapered pants came off over his boots.
Yeah.
I don't believe it. And he put them back on.
Yeah, he did.
With no trouble.
No.
I do.
Like, I don't even have tight pants, and I cannot get the pants off and back on with my boots on.
No, because that's not a thing that like happens. Nope.
I don't know. Like, if it was down by his ankles, that'd probably be.
That
funny.
would be better.
It'd be
and
funnier.
it would be more funny.
Yeah.
And I would actually believe that
because like
that
now he's already trying to pull his pants up because he knows his pants are at his ankles because he can't walk.
Yeah.
So we already have that level of humor. Like
maybe they thought it was too slapstick. I don't know. Or I don't know. That would have been better. I would have liked that better.